Joining us right now, former New York Governor George Pataki. Governor, let me ask you this. We saw a wave in '94. I guess there was another wave when Obama came in. Tell me your feeling about whether there is a red wave coming and what the implications would be.
Well, clearly, for the first time in 20 years, Lee Zeldin, the Republican candidate, has a very real chance of winning in New York State. And when a Republican has a chance of winning in New York State, you know that the voters are willing to cross party lines and look at Republicans, voters who haven't in the past. So from that alone, you get the sense that the voters are unhappy with Washington, that they believe the country and New York State are headed in the wrong direction. And that gives Republicans a tremendous opportunity to have a true wave election across the country.
Governor, New York State hasn't had a Republican governor since you left office 16 years ago. Do you think, or I should say, how has politics changed, not just in the state, but in the country since you were in office?
Well, I think it's a lot more polarized today. You just had the clip on Kari Lake talking about how immediately when there's a criminal incident, they try to polarize it and make it a political benefit to themselves as opposed to trying to solve the crime. So there is that, just the desire to make everything into a partisan advantage, particularly on the part of the left, because the media plays right into it. So that is a dramatic change. Apart from that, people are people. They know the country's headed in the wrong direction, so they're looking hard at Republican candidates in places they wouldn't in the past. They see crime in New York is out of control, and that the Democratic governor and the Democratic legislature are doing nothing to deal with it. So Lee Zeldin has a real chance. So politics is more partisan, more polarized, but people ultimately are people, which is why I think even in a state like New York, there's a good chance, not just for the governor, but for 4 or 5 House Republican candidates to take seats that in the past were Democratic seats.
We know that New York is kind of 2 states. It's New York City, which is extremely liberal, and then upstate is more conservative. What kind of numbers are going to be necessary, not to get too wonky here, but how much of New York City would Mr. Zeldin have to get in support and still have a chance to win? Because it's so liberal, it usually just, straight ballot liberal.
Yeah, it is. He has to get over 30%, but I think he has an excellent chance of doing that because New York is, it's just become way too dangerous. There are incidents virtually every day, horrible criminal incidents. In most cases, most of those cases, there are people who have been in jail, let out of jail, arrested before in a mental institution, and they're out on the streets committing crime after crime after crime because we have turn 'em loose justice in New York State under the Hochul administration. And so that leads me to believe that Zeldin has an excellent chance of getting over 30%. And he has to do that to win. He'll do very well on Long Island. He'll do well in the suburbs. And then it comes down to upstate, where he has to work hard to bring out the swing vote up there. Yes, it's more conservative, but still there are a lot of voters who look at downstate candidates and say, well, I better take another look. So I think he has an excellent chance. Upstate is real. I think the battle's going to be fought.
And Governor, if in 11 days there is a red wave, what do you think is the first thing that Congress should do? We have about 30 seconds left.
The first, oh God, there's so many things to do. But,
first 3.
I would turn on the energy spigots. That's part of it. I would cut off all the temporary spending bills, the $4 trillion that Biden has borrowed right away. I'd take the money that was allocated to the IRS and move it to the border, to shut down the border. There are so many crises, the border crisis, the energy crisis, the inflation crisis. Those are all things that on day one, the Republicans should take decisive action to shut the border, to turn on the energy spigots, and to cut out all this giveaway programs that are fueling inflation.
You sound like you haven't missed a step. Are you ever going to get back in? What are you doing now? What do you want to do?
Well, there are a lot of good candidates out there, Bob, and what I'm doing is trying to help them. I had my turn, and I had great support and had tremendous opportunity. Now it's my turn to help others have the chance to straighten out this state and this country.
All right. We appreciate you being here with us today. Governor George Pataki, of course, former governor of New York State. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me on. Take care.